G'day everybody, I'm Belth and this is Dog Shadow Gaming, the channel where we live to game and game to live. And today we're looking at episode 4 and our Vermintide 2, I would say walkthrough or guide. I put Let's Play and it is kind of a Let's Play, but really what it is a guide for beginners and intermediate players, get you a bit of an idea and sort of get you moving towards champion and legendary play. Now the tips, hints, suggestions and the guide that I'm doing here will do you right up and into champion. It's not designed for legend as such. I mean, a lot of the aspects will be used in legend, a lot of them, and a lot of the gameplay and mechanics are exactly the same for legend. However, in order to do a legend guide, it's probably a lot more in depth and a lot more precise in some of the things, but what I'm going to give you will get you in good steading and make sure you're playing and being a help to your team and not a hindrance, because that's, especially in the early levels of recruit and vet, it can be really annoying when people just sort of run in and just do whatever the hell they want. You can, to be honest, in those levels because they're not as hard, but it doesn't give you good let's say behaviors for playing at higher levels. That's probably the best way. You don't want to learn bad behaviors, then you've got to try and unlearn if you want to go to legend. So today, in our first episode, we just did general mechanics and we went through Righteous Stand, the first level in the camp in the game. On the second one, when we did Slayer mechanics, his role, Barden Gorikson as a Slayer, and sort of how it plays. It's sort of its strengths and its weaknesses. We went through Eneth Nell. I can't remember I can't even pronounce it. Sorry, I stuff it up every time. We'll see it in a sec. On the third episode, we actually did the Shade, which is the boss killer, and we talked a little about her abilities, how to use her, what her position in the team is, what she's there for, what she's not there for, and we went through Against the Grain and sort of had a look at how that level. Where are the tomes, the grims, choke points, bits and pieces. So it's just general. I'm playing on veteran level, which is not champion level or legendary level, and the reason is I normally play mostly champ legend, a mix between the two. However, it's a little bit tough with bots on champ level by yourself, and to take the time to try to explain things, you've really got to sort of concentrate a little bit more. So veteran's pretty easy, and I can just talk to you and take my time through it a little bit more than I will with those, especially as we're playing Sienna and we're going to play Pyromancer, and this is a glass cannon build, so you've got to be a little bit more careful, and I just don't want to be worried about dropping constantly and then not being able to talk you through it. So that's why we're playing on vet, but I assure you, if anybody wants to play with me, we can play on vet, on champ and legend anytime. Okay, so we're going to get right into it now. It won't take any longer. And I'm going to really quickly talk about how I've built her setup and her gear out. Again, this is not a top tier meta build or anything like that. It's just how I like to play her. With the Pyromancer, I do go for a high crit, a high sustain, high crit chance. I like to play to the strengths of her character. So we'll just I'll just go back 1 second and we'll go hero selection. So we'll just quickly... So Sienna's Pyromancer build, her passive ability is increased critical strike chance based on overcharge level up to 30%. So the higher that overcharge level, the higher critical strike chance, up to a 30% increase. That's quite a lot. Her F-bomb, her special, is Burning Head, which is, Sienna unleashes a fiery projectile that seeks out foes. This is the Burning Skull, which you just see there in the picture. It is basically a heat-seeking missile, and right up to champion can one-shot, pretty much any special. Chaos Warriors, Rats, the whole lot. It'll just one-shot them most of the time, especially if you're running a crit-based build 90% of the time or 99% of the time, it will do it. Won't one-shot bosses, but it still does a hell of a lot of damage if properly spec'd for it. Now, her perks is Searing Focus, increases range damage by 10%. So again, range damage, range damage, range damage. That's what she's built for. That's what she's going to be doing 90% of the time. The other parts of the time, what you really want to be doing is getting away and trying to range. Get away, range. So that's what you're trying to do. Cool. We'll get back into there, and we are the build. Let's go into the build. I'm running Mace just for that crit chance and a bit of attack speed on there. Parry time blocks reduces stamina by 100%. This is pretty much at the moment, whether you're playing, again, recruit, veteran, probably not so important. I wouldn't worry about it as much, but you moving into champion and legend, parry is absolutely, you got to have it. Like learning to block is one of the first mechanics, and that's what we're going to talk about because it's really important for recruit, veteran, and champion. You shouldn't even be looking. You don't even be looking to go to legend unless you know how to dodge and block and how to use them effectively. Very, very important. Now, the two weapons that most people use on pretty much all three of the mage builds is either the mace or the dagger. It's usually one or the other. As you can see, I've got a bit of attack speed and crit chance on the mace just because it's a little bit slower, so I like to get it moving. On the dagger, we've got crit chance and we've got power versus chaos just to really deal with those big chaos boys. Now, I can deal with them with this. So that's what we're going to be doing. Cool. That's if you don't have your special up, basically. And then we're going the bolt staff. Bolt staff, personally, my personal favorite. A lot of people like the beam staff for the Wigglemancer type stuff, but I like this particular staff in this build, and I'll show you why. Again, we're going flat out crit, power versus armor, power versus chaos, power. Crit power and crit chance to stack as much as we can and get as much as we can. We're going for a headshot build on this one as much as humanly possible. As you can see there, we're running heat sink. Critical hits remove 4 overcharge, and that's really important. So we're stacking all that crit chance and crit power, and this is a very accurate staff. So I'll show you what I mean when we get into the game. For my necklace, I just run 20% health and then just a little bit extra block chance. For my charm, I'm running power versus armored again, just to get some more help with those chaos warriors if I have to get up close to them. Just gives a little bit of buff. Crit power, we're going to be trying to crit as much as we can, and we want it to be powerful. 30% curse resistance, really important. Not so much important this one because I'm not going to be picking up tomes or grims and stuff like that because we're just doing a run through to talk about the level, not to really master it as such. So crit chance is important, obviously, as we've talked about. And then 30% curse resistance, really, really important, especially for those weaker, squishier characters if you're picking up tomes and grims, which you will be most of the time. Grenades cause hit enemies to take 20% increased damage for 10 seconds. That's important because you can throw it in and just start smashing people. Increases duration of potions, good because you can just keep, it just gives you more time to smash out those specials if you're running like a purple potion or a strength or whatever. Okay, so here we go. We're going to come in. Oh, really quickly, the level that we're going to do today, we're going to be talking about today is we're going to do Empire in Flames. As I said, we're doing a private match just with bots and then veteran. So let's get into it and start talking about the level. Now, Empire in Flames is a really good one. It doesn't have a boss at the end of it. Some levels have boss. Hang on, I'll shut up.
There's still a job to do there. The Rockbloods are using the Baron's Manor as a storehouse for all their ill-gotten gains. It's filled with foodstuffs and supplies, and I want you to blow it up. They won't like that, I'll tell you. Use the black powder from a nearby mining emporium, but hurry up. There's a fat bunch of them marching on Usingen to claim their loot.
Cool. Okay. So there's no actual boss in this level. However, towards the back end of the level, you do have a section where you've got to fill a cart with explosives and write it down. And it's kind of like, it's like the challenge part. And it can be difficult because you constantly got warriors pouring in on you while you're trying to do that, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. But outside of that, there's no stationed, and by that I mean there's no permanent station boss at a certain part in the level. We will get a boss. There'll be a troll or a spawn of chaos or something happen, but just like it'll be random is basically what I'm saying to you. Remember, we're only on vet, guys, so if it does come across a little bit easy, that's okay, because I'm really more interested in just talking you through the level, showing you where all the bits and pieces are, and talking more about mechanics than I am about that. So, can you hear those little, like, ding ding dings? That is you getting headshots, right? Now, whether you... Where are ya? Where is he? There he goes. And that's the beauty of her F-bomb. You can basically just use it to take out See that? We got the... There we go. Shay just took him out, one-shotted him. That's good. So the special here is a heat-seeking missile. Really, really, really good because... Again, remember, it doesn't matter what the class is, you should always know how to push, block, and you should know how to dodge. Very important. Cool, alright. Headshots. Again, headshots, even with the mace. You want to get those headshots for the one-shot kills. This is why it's very important to always play with your headset, because all those sound cues, just like in games such as Left 4 Dead, are going to be telling you what's happening around you. Quite often you don't have eyes in the back of your head, so you're going to be relying on the sounds that are happening to tell you when specials. There's like a cue to most specials to when you're going to get a horde. They're all there. You see that? That tells me there is a assassin. Again, we're trying to get those. An assassin is running around. Now, there's a couple of ways of dealing with assassin. You do want to try and take it out from range if you can. However, little bugger is really taking his time. So, there we go. And that was the benefit of a special in close range. So a special can take out one target, and it's got a bit of an aiming sort of thing. You don't really need to, you don't need to aim, you just sort of aim it in the general direction. It's probably one of the easiest specials you can use, to be honest with you. Can't believe I missed that headshot. I did get the block though, which was fortunate. Okay, we're going to take this. Okay, and remember what I said about headshots, as much as possible. And range damage. Cool. So also remember from the last quest I made it, I was saying how it's important to learn to either change your T button, which is your highlight button, to either on the side of your mouse or somewhere convenient for you to be able to use it on the fly and highlight stuff for your team, like that in blue. Again, special killer. See, we heard that coming. How did I know that was behind me? Because I could actually hear it. So again, I should have heard it that time. Didn't. There we go. We got our first boss. Oh, you son of a... All right. Okay. Damn it, I haven't checked my stats for a bit. I don't know why I'm running that. Shouldn't have got health there. So the first of the tomes is right here. Right. If I can jump up in it. Showing my crappiness right now. There we go. So you got a chest here, and then you got your first tome right here. Which the guy's already picked up, which is fine. Our bot's already picked it up. We'll keep moving. So you notice then I got all this click, 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 click on the troll. The troll actually becomes fairly easy for this particular class because you can just sit out range and keep pounding on its head. Okay. I'm going to pull back here, let the choke point. Whoop. totally out of practice. When you're good at this, you can pretty much, we're gonna have to switch here because we've not got the range. When you are good at this, you can pretty much headshot anything from anywhere really, really quick. This is not a great place for us to be. We want to be moving. Dwarf's absolutely mashing it with his shield. Cool. I'm going to keep moving. So first tome there.
This is the right door.
Keep going. We're going to
Can you see a
do a bit of this. So with this overcharge mechanic, let's talk about that. So anything under that, see where it's grey there at the start? Anything in here, if I vent using R, doesn't hurt me, doesn't hurt my health. However, my god, the crappiness. So now I'm over into the orange. If I vent, I'll take damage, right? Not huge damage. And this is where, and I've set up I haven't played her in so long. And I've set it up wrong because what I'm getting at the moment is health off killing bosses. And what you actually want is the temp health off killing. So it's 2% temp health every time you kill something. On this build, that's amazing because you're constantly killing things. You're going to be killing the chaff from range hardcore. And so that gives you your white health. So then if you need to vent, you're using white health or temp health rather than your actual health to vent. So I've kind of stuffed it up and I do apologize for that. So that's a tactic. When you're going down her particular skills, you want to be getting that 2% temp health from all kills. Because you think about how many we just killed. Now I'm having to use my special to vent when I could have just been like venting and using temp health that I was getting from the kills. Mid leap. Now again, totally out of practice. Normally you can headshot, especially if you're not playing. If you're playing on Xbox, a little bit harder. If you're playing on PC and you're using a mouse, much easier to get that headshot. All right, so let's talk about, we're going to go to the Grim. This is the first of the Grims. And you got to hit this barrel from this window. It's going to explode and then open up a back entrance where you can crawl in under there and get it. I've been playing melee-based characters for so long, I'm a little bit... So see how that's now opened that up? I can squeeze in here and I can get this book. I'm not going to bother right now. It's not what we're going to do. You come down here, you usually get something out of this. Keep on moving. We got a hook rat. Yeah, keep moving. So, yeah, so the heat gauge is really important. I would say to you, out of all the potions, you don't really care about blue on this one too much. It's just a speed and you're already moving at pretty good speed. Purple's really important because it's going to allow you to just keep smashing that special. Okay, where are they going to come through? This way, hopefully. Okay, see all those headshots? See how it keeps knocking down my... They're gonna come from the other way. Just smashing them through the door as they come through. And see how my heat gauge keeps going down? These guys don't get in my way all the time. This becomes really effective for hordes. You can just sort of sit there and like mash them. Right, and yeah. So again, not completely optimized because I'm not using the temp health, so just please remember that. Just gonna keep moving here. open this up. Yeah, I did. I misjudged the attack sequence there. So everything has an attack sequence. So please remember that all bosses, everything has its own like set of attack sequence. Once you understand the attack sequence, you can pretty much duke it out with almost anything. Got an assassin sort of wandering around somewhere. He'll be wandering over our head. So as I was saying, as the heat gauge goes into orange, you are going to take damage. As it goes into red, it's warning you, you're going to take even more damage if you vent. And you... So right now, if I vent using R, I take damage. Not huge. And sometimes it doesn't matter, you're just going to take that little bit of damage to vent. Right now. Here we go, we're going to use those headshots. Vent out that heat. As I said, I'm way out of practice. When you're good at this, you can pretty much just be clicking out those little jingling sounds all day, hitting headshots, because it's extremely accurate, this particular staff. But again, this is just one staff. There are other ways to play. Okay. It's a bit silly. Okay, now, second tome, right here. You jump, you can see it right there, see? Worth going down here, getting a bit of, there's usually some ammunition, maybe a bit of health in here, a bomb. We'll just whack this one on for now. It's been so long since I've played Sienna. So, when you are playing her a lot and maining her, you can get to a point where now another way you can do this is you can actually run attack speed and she gets even quicker. Cool.
So, you like picking on the helmets? Come on, try me this side.
Okay, got a pat. Really don't want to fight this pat. Yeah, but we're going to, it would seem.
For Auntie Sienna.
Good place to use a bomb. And we're going to use another. There we go. Why they couldn't use it is beyond me, but okay. So again, that's where I tend to use bombs for. I tend to hold on to them. Don't use them unless you need to. It's clutch situations there. And what I was thinking as I was doing that, I was going, okay, I don't have my special up. right? I'm running through my overcharge, so I can't keep just firing in. So I've either got to go in and melee, which I'm going to be able to take a couple of them out, but I had the option there for the grenades, and so that's where you're going with it. Again, it's more of a clutch tool in my opinion. Now, let's talk about where is the second Grim. Now, this is a pain in the bum as you first start. That's the second Grim. Right, now to get up there, guys, this is very painful. We're just going to fix this guy.
What are the odds?
You hear that? You hear that sort of mumbling sound? That means we're about to get a horde. Okay, so let's demonstrate a little bit of blocking, moving. Using that block and that shove, push, I should say. Okay, we've cleared the horde. Now, I'm going to go... So, this is a bit of a pain in the bum. You sort of want to jump. The first jump you want to sort of hit is just before you get between the handles. You kind of just want to go like there, up, and then up again. Don't try... I mean, it's a real pain in the bum to try and get this properly. And you're sort of going up here. From here, you really want to jump right at the apex of your jump. Pull back a little bit, and then... Oh, and I stuffed it up. From there, up to there, and then you can just stand and get to the next one. I have literally, I've sat there so many times where people just could not get it. The whole team couldn't get it, and you just end up walking past it. It is a good one to practice so that you can get up and get up to it quickly. Well worth practicing to get it good, but that's the second of the Grims. Now, worth getting some health here. Cool, excellent. We've all got health, yep. Moving down here, and this is the part I was talking to you at the start. We're about to get to that point where we... Okay. That was silly, should have just used the F straight away. Again, just a little bit out of practice. Okay, it's coming from this side. The fanatics, for this particular staff, the fanatics are actually a little bit easier. Oh shit. Just missed me. To get those headshots, because they're all kind of the same height, whereas the rats tend to be bobbing a little bit as they move. Which means they don't line up quite as well for those headshots. Cool. Yeah, it's a bit like reloading a gun. Yeah, like, so if you're playing a first-person shooter, right, you don't just wander around the corner. One of my favorite YouTubers, Angry Joe, I think he's a very funny guy, but when you, like, and he admits it, right? So he's out about it. He's not the best first-person shooter in the world, and he's quite honest about it, which I think is really cool. I'm not amazing at it. I gotta tell you, I'm really not amazing at first-person shooters, so I'm not one to speak, but what I do see that he does is he leaves, oh, should have heard that. He leaves reloading his gun and to a point where he's in a bad spot. You know, like if you're good at the game, you use every chance you've got when you're not firing to reload your gun. Think of the mechanic of venting a little bit the same. Whenever there's a safe space where you've got a relatively safe area to vent, because you can't really move much while you're doing it, and you're very prone. to taking damage because you can't do anything else while you're doing it, right? So it's a bit like reloading a gun. You don't just, oh yeah, I'll wait till I get around into the big open wide space where everyone can see me, then I'll reload the gun. No, even if you've only got to reload 2 bullets, you reload it when you're here. Not, I just popped around the corner. You do it back here. It's the same mechanic. Try to pick when you be strategic in when and how you go about venting that heat, just like you would if you were reloading a gun in a different setting, right? Put that in there. I'm gonna move down here. Okay, so this cart, basically you got to run it right to the end. You're gonna constantly have guys like dropping in on you. By the way, this has full auto, which you saw, but you can also just burst it if you want to. Totally up to you how you do things. Usually you saw where the first barrel is, the second one's here. If you've got a good team, they'll all split up and go after one each. Not too hard to do this. Right. Now I don't want to explode that. Okay, you do have to kind of push it up. Yeah, there's a couple of points they're always going to come from, right? It's going to come from that end. Again, we're healing. You can, by the way, just for a little tip, when you're healing, you can just hold down the button, but you can swing around. So if I'm healing, I can still swing around and look. So I can keep it at 360 swivel while I'm healing. Okay. Actually, now we're on vet, so I can shoot through my guys without hurting them. If you were on champ or you were on legend, you're going to actually hurt them by hitting them. Okay, so that's very important. It's okay in the first 2 levels, go nuts, do whatever you want, but as you get higher, you've got to be a little bit more careful. Now, that's not where I wanted to go. Where I want to go is down. Here we go. We're going to go down here, we're going to pick up this barrel. I'm going to ping that for my guys. Through here, this is a one-way entrance, obviously, you can't go through the other way. Here we go, Smuggler's Run, there's a purple. And here we go. So, as soon as I put this barrel in there, by the way, as you closer you get it to, you saw how all the guys come piling out the windows. That happens whenever you get it close. Pop that in there, we press E, we're lighting the barrel, and it's going to go flying down the hill. Now, we've so far seen where the 2 Grims are and 2 of the tomes. I'm now going to show you where the last of the tomes is. Now, explodes this. You are going to get them run at you. The higher the level, the more they run at you. Cool. Okay, moving right along. So the basics of the mage is really simple. You're the glass cannon. You should not ever be at the front of the group. You should always be back of the bus. You're at the back. Let Barden or Kruber jump in the front. You know what I mean? Like, that's not your position. Your back line, unless you're playing Sienna Unchained, and then you can be front of the line. But the other 2 classes, really, you want to be middle of the pack to back of the pack. You're never front of the pack. Back of the bus, cheers. Now, why are we fighting up here? Well, we could keep moving, but we have a pack. Remember that they're always prone when they're coming up to you. It's good to let them come up to you, so that they're prone and you're doing the most damage, usually doing headshots. don't be rushing. Like, a lot of people rush. It's not... There are times when you need to move with speed, but there are times when you need to slow down and make them come to you the way you want them to come to you. So think a little bit about Sun Tzu. Pick your battle. You know, if you've read Sun Tzu, if you haven't, then go read it. It's an amazing book. Very simple prospect ideals that have been, you know, they just speak simple truths, I suppose. Fight. You choose the, if you choose the battle, the field in which you fight, you will always win. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that is very, I know that sounded a bit coy, but that is very apt in this situation. You constantly want to be making sure that you are dictating the terms of the fight. So basically what you're doing here is you're jumping off this corner here and you're aiming to hit this little plank here. Get in here. Oh, we've got to die. Whatever. You're coming through the back here. Down in here, and here's your tome. And we'll just pick it up for now, why not? Then you undo this right here. And you're out. Cool? You cannot get through this, by the way. It looks like you can, and I've got caught myself when I first started doing it. You can't get through there. It's the weirdest little door. It can really screw you up, because if you're panicking or you're trying to get out and there's a horde on you, it's not going to do much for you. So I'm going to... What do you know? 2. Again, going for those headshots, trying to aim as much as you can. We'll just sit here and I'll just... What I'm going to do here, that's the special. Just drink the purple. So with the purple drunk, done. And then back again, done. Remember, we've got the extended effect on potions. So we're getting a lot of value out of it there. So it just gets to show you what you can do with purple potions. Now we got a horde incoming, but we're not going to do too much into that. So this was Empire in Flames. Fairly simple, no major bosses. That was a pretty simple and straightforward run. This was the bolt staff in action. So to knock it off, Sienna is, and again, you can like full auto or you can whatever. You can just sort of semi-auto it if you like. We'll go in here and we'll finish up. We'll head back to base and then I'll continue. So Sienna is like a really good character. If you really like that you know, nuts damage, where we look for the nuts damage build, she can be really, really good. Her and the Shade are pretty much the 2 biggest damage dealers in the game. Like just burst damage, just massive damage, in my opinion. However, each class has its own, you know, sort of parts as well. The Hunter for Kruber can do massive crit damage, is a very, very viable choice as another like mass damage choice, ranged mass damage choice. I'd say Kruber Marksman is probably, I think he's top damage for ranged, followed by Sienna, and then for melee top damage, it's definitely Carillion with the Shade. So that's if you want damage type builds. If you're looking to nuke stuff, that's what you're being running. So to basically to wrap it all up, guys, Sienna is a back to midline player. You don't want to be running to the front of the pack. You're not a front line. You're not Barden sitting there with all that heavy armor. You don't have all that health or retain, especially in Pyro. The Pyro side of things is definitely not like it's glass cannon. This is mid to front line and can play very, you know, fronty and very aggressively. Backline, very much supporting, very much just knocking stuff down. And by the way, my gameplay here was not great. So a really good Sienna can just nail stuff from miles away. I have, with Sienna, when I was playing her and maining her and really getting the twitchness down of the skill, you know, I could just melt trolls by just headshot after headshot after headshot after headshot. The Battle Wizard is kind of a blend between the two. And again, backline, damage dealer, a little bit harder, a little bit trickier to get used to as a beginning player, in that you have to manage that heat. Once you get a hold of managing the heat, it can be quite a lot of fun to play. But in the beginning, when you're first playing, trust me, you're going to blow up a lot. You're going to overheat. Now, I wasn't too bad there in that one, but you know, like you can do it very easily. If you're playing the Unchained, it can happen very, very easily. In fact, as you start playing her through these 2 levels, once you finally do unlock her and you start going to it, you're going to overheat. When you first start doing it, even if you think you're pretty good, you're probably going to overheat about 3 or 4 times every match until you really learn to watch that heat gauge. The difference, I suppose, is because it's more melee focused, it gives you a little bit more... because you're meleeing, it just gives you a little bit more opportunity to let off that F-bomb a little bit more. But we'll show that in another clip. I hope you've enjoyed this today with my beginner's guide to Sienna, and also our run through of Empire and Flames. We did go through and got all the tomes and the Grims, and get a little bit about, you know, Sienna and what she does. If you have any questions on her, or if you have any feedback, or you think I could have done anything different, or you want to add something to the guide for new beginning players, by all means, please put it in. I'd love to hear from it. Okay, no problem. I will leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, sorry, before I go, as always, guys, if you liked it, please hit the like button, smash that subscribe, hit up the little bell for all the information. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, then like, follow the page, share it with your mates, share the love. That's how we grow. You can also follow us on Twitter, Dog Shadow Game 1, and Instagram on Dog Shadow Gaming. We also have a Patreon if you're feeling charitable and you want to help us out. Outside of that, guys, you have a great day. Cheers. I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.